really feel like it's gonna be so fun today, you guys. Jessica does too, you can tell. Quickly, we'll have our black cables off the back handlebars, which I haven't done yet. The mermaid strap is pulled away. We will be doing our mermaid today. And then also red pole handy at the front for some of the lunging. Modifications quickly, smaller range of motion. Anything at the back can be done at the front. Anything at the front for the core or the legs when we're on the light stuff. 2 yellows will be easier. We're gonna get started with our core block. 1 yellow, 2 will be more support, and we'll be facing the front in a high plank position. So change up your springs, bring your hands onto the front platform, bring your toes together. The further back your feet are here, the more challenging it's going to be. So thinking about that spring load, if your feet are way far back and you put 2 springs on, you basically brought it back down to 1 yellow. Just saying. Hips are about the height of your shoulders. Squeeze your glutes nice and strong. Spread out through your fingers. Soften through your elbows. As slowly as you can, let's start to pike our hips up towards the sky. Awesome. Great control, Jessica. So first couple might not be your highest place just yet, your highest range of motion, especially if this is in the morning at your house, first movement of the day, it might start out a little bit smaller. Try to lift and isolate through the abdominals to relax what you're feeling at the front of the hips. Keep the heels lifted high. Try to keep that nice long neutral spine as well. Feel what your head does when you change your body position like this. Neck stays nice and long. Inner thighs, activate them a little bit more. Imagine you're holding a block or a ball between your upper and inner thighs. Heels again real high. Soften through the elbows and adjust your shoulders probably about now. This is your one little push right here, up on the arms for now, and then we're gonna get down to a seated position to continue working the core. So dig in a little bit, let the heat start to come through the shoulders, keep wrapping back through your triceps, and try to breathe a little bit deeper now. 10 more seconds just like this. We're gonna be sitting on our butt. Your toes are gonna hook up underneath the strap on the carriage or the platform, doesn't really matter which one, just depends on where your butt is. In 5, 4, awesome Jessica, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Take a seat, tuck your toes, adjust your hips, so kind of tuck your tailbone underneath, walk your sits bones forward so you don't feel like you're sitting on your bones. Arms extend forward, thumbs rotate up, shoulders plug back and in. Engage your inner thighs, engage your glutes. Try to sit up really tall, so even though we call it S crunch, we're not actually crunching. Just like the pike, as you lean back, you're trying to keep your spine nice and neutral. Perfect, Jessica. Hold at the back briefly, you guys, and try to imagine you're wrapping a corset around your spine, and then exhale, slowly lift up. As you lift up, you're trying not to lift up so far that you feel your abdominals release or that you feel just burning in your hip flexors. Adjust how you hold your neck. Keep the neck nice and long as you lean back, and keeping your head back in position is actually going to make the core work a little bit harder here. Just 10 more seconds, melt the shoulders down, looks perfect, Jessica. If you can push it a little bit, go back a little bit further. If that doesn't work for your body though, you can move 1 inch of motion and that's going to be just great. Next one, hold it back to your furthest point, squeeze around those corset muscles again, and then come up just a sliver, just a little bit more. Hold it. And then now really slow, you guys, strong in the shoulders. One arm is gonna start to go up, really, really slow. Feel the work in the extension of your shoulder, and then really slow. Squeeze that coordinating oblique as you bring that arm back to center, and then the other arm is gonna start to go up real slow. Feel how the core has to stay closed as you reach over your head, and then exhale, squeeze it in. As you squeeze down, keep going just like this. Imagine your arms weigh like 20 pounds more than they do. Keep your eyes soft, your jaw soft. Focus in on those core muscles again. You have 8, 7, we're gonna turn around. You'll be facing towards the spring, still at the front, elbows on the carriage, toes on the platform. 3, 2, 1, awesome. So turning it around, face towards the back, bring your elbows onto the first red line. Toes can be tucked. If you need to modify it, you can definitely do this on your knees. Feet could be together, heels, toes touch, which is gonna fire up those inner thighs a little bit more. If you have anything going on in your hips, you might like moving your feet a little bit further, hips distance width apart. Push down energetically into your elbows, light up on those center abs, squeeze your butt, squeeze your inner thighs. Now, if this is okay for your shoulders, see if you can start to army crawl forward. Keep it slow, hugging through those obliques, finding some stability through the core, through the spine. Awesome, Jess. If the army crawl doesn't work for you guys, you can hold and saw. Maybe you take a couple pikes occasionally. Just breathing in, breathing out. You got about 15 more seconds. Again, staying in that army crawl if you've got it. Sawing the shoulders if that's better serving your shoulders today. Whatever you need here. Just 5. We're gonna transition back up to our hands, down to your knees, modified plank position for wheelbarrow. Awesome fight, Jess. 3, 2, 1. Good job. So bring your knees down, bring your hands up. I like my hands a little bit wider than where they were for the forearm plank. Spread out through your fingers. Get your index finger to rotate forward, you guys. So the rest of your fingers kind of fan out to the sides. Softness through your elbows. Triceps are wrapping back. And when I say triceps are wrapping back, when you're holding it down, imagine like you don't want to look like a bulldog. You want to wrap the triceps in, externally rotating the shoulder joints. You're starting to push the carriage out in front of you. Range of motion, totally yours. Keeping the integrity, the neutral position of the spine is everything. So as your arms come underneath you, your abs are still working. As your arms start to go more out in front of you, that's where the real fire lights up. And especially on that pull in, keep the navel lifting, keep the rib cage closed. Check in with those shoulders, you guys, frequently. Like every half a rep, probably every time you extend your arms out, you gotta depress your shoulders and spin those triceps. Probably also every time you slide out, you gotta re-squeeze into those glutes, you gotta lift the front core. Next one, start to slide your arms out in front of you. Doesn't matter to me how far, just 5. Awesome. Strong hands, strong arms, look solid, Jessica. 3, 2, you guys back to full range. Nice and slow, only 10 more seconds. Most likely you'll stay down on your knees here. If it were me, I would, especially so early in class, but you're definitely welcome to come to your toes. For push-ups, real slow ones in 3, 2, 1. Pull the carriage in, stay right where you are, and then begin to bend your elbows into your push-ups. Again, you can totally come up to your toes here. If you're coming to your toes, I want those push-ups solid, right? Make sure you're not sagging in the core. Make sure your legs are on fire. Keep going. See if you can add a little pause at the bottom. How do you make your push-ups easier? If you're building strength and push-ups are not your jam and you don't quite have the form, make the movement tiny and really, really slow so you can focus on that form. You have 8, 7, one more big push coming. We're traveling to the back. Make sure you've got 1 yellow for a high plank with your hands on the back platform. If you need to stay at the front, hands stay right here. In 3, high plank. In 2, and 1. If you're coming up to the back, make sure you drop down to 1 yellow unless you mean it. Push up to the back, hands on your back platform. Toes against the strap will be the easiest. Toes further back will be harder. Again, you could do this at the front facing the same direction. As slowly as you can, take a big inhale breath, fill up those lungs, and on your exhale, begin to bend your knees. Cranking through that corset muscle, right? Wrapping those abdominals around the lumbar spine, and then slowly sliding it out. Focus, you guys, a lot when your legs are starting to slide backwards on squeezing your butt cheeks and your inner thighs tightly the whole time. Good fight, Jessica. We're almost there. This is the last one here. We're going to be taking a ride back up to the front, adjusting our springs as we get into some legs. Big old inhales, big old exhales. We'll have about 1 red and 1 or 2 yellows. We're going to be in your squats with your left foot onto the front platform, so you'll be facing off to the right. This is your last 5. Dig in. Awesome, Jess. 3, start to slide your legs back, plank hold. In 2, hold it back. Strong arms, you guys squeeze everything you've got. For 8. For 7, lift the navel, lift your head, gaze slightly forward. 4, to the front, about 1 red and 1, 2, or 3 yellows. In 2 and 1. Awesome. So 1 red and then some yellows on top of it. 1, 2, or 3 yellows. Bring your feet inside of the straps. Turn your toes slightly out. That's how I like to squat. If you squat differently, that's cool. Make sure you feel some tension on your outer thighs. Hold the carriage still. and begin to bend your knees. Sit down nice and low into your squats. Pause at the bottom and then rise slowly as you can. Perfect form, Jessica. So a couple points here. You want to drill your heels and your toes down into the carriage. Your primary goal is stability. You want to try not to move the carriage. Number 2, we're only doing this exercise facing this direction. So make sure you feel it evenly in both legs, radiating through your feet, pushing down evenly outwards through both thighs. And now I want you to try to get a little bit lower. Get uncomfortable, open up your hips, activate that core when you're at the bottom. Think about when we're in the S crunch. Think about when we're in the giant pike at the back. Every time you come down to the bottom, wrap around with the abs, right? Melt the shoulders down, intensify what you're feeling, and again, start to get a little bit lower. On your next one, let's come down to the bottom for a nice big hold. Sit down low. See if you can extend your arms forward like we did in the crunch, shoulders plugging in, elbows straight, thumbs are lifted, shoulders absolutely away from your ears. Sink down a little bit lower, just a few more seconds here. So strong, it feels delightful. 3, 2, hands wherever you like, just come back to full range. Real slow, you're rising up, and then you're sitting it right back down. Melt the shoulders, try not to straighten your knees at the top. You're trying to keep a giant bend in your knees as we roll through this challenge, as we get our heart rate a little higher. Your heart rate will stay higher, you'll burn more calories if you layer these squats together. If you load tension into your back, sure, take a break at the top. Straighten your legs a little bit, squeeze your butt cheeks, but you better push to get lower on the next 1 or 2. Again, let's come all the way down on your next one. See if you can do the same thing with your arms. Sit down really low, rock your weight back to your heels, thumbs up, elbows straight, shoulders absolutely down. 1 inch down in your legs, real strong. We're not gonna be here long. 1 inch up, awesome. 1 inch up, perfect spine, Jess. 1 inch down, stay with it. 3, 2, come all the way down, low as you can get. For 2, squeeze it, abs so tight. Arms wherever you like, you're back to full range. You have 20 seconds here. Coming up and coming right back down. Last 10 seconds, we're gonna turn this into skating. So we're gonna sit down low into our squat in 5, 4, 3, 2, sit down real low into your squat. First things first, rock your weight back to your heels. You can use the bars in front of you, like you can even turn that bar in front of you around. As slowly as you can, first drill into your left heel. Start to drive your right leg out to the right. Keep your right knee rotating outwards, perfect adjustment. And then holding out there briefly for a second, feel those obliques work. And then resist as that right leg comes in, nice and slow. Shoulders are rolling back, shoulder blades are squeezing down, corset muscles around the spine, and you are constantly, you guys, constantly pushing to get lower. Taking the weight back into your heels, make sure those knees don't start to creep in front of your toes, is difficult when your legs start to get tired. So again, drop it a little lower. 10 seconds, first challenge is coming. Yes, I absolutely love using those bars. Squeezing your outer butt cheeks. You guys, if you don't feel your outer butt pockets on this one, turn your toes out a sliver more. Push your right leg out about 95%. It's almost straight. Try to drop your hips a little lower. Yeah, just bending into the knees. Now super slow. Give me 1 inch in with the right leg. 1 inch out. Your head is centered between your shoulders. Your shoulder blades are even, not twisting. 5, 4, 3, push your right leg out, scoop your belly in, sit a little lower, try, and now come back to full range. Good, 10 seconds, another challenge is coming right back to back. In 5, start to push right leg out. In 3, awesome, Jess. 2, now hold it out. Lift your chest a little bit, drop your butt lower, bend that knee, yes. Push into your left heel heavily. Now, 1 inch down with your left leg. Keep your right leg driving out. Keep that right knee rotating right. 1 inch up. Push your right leg out straighter. 1 inch down. You're right there. Hold it down. 3. Get a little lower. Big dig deep right here. 2. Come back to full range. You have about 15 seconds of movement. We're going to get out of this squat position. We're going to come down like super lunge setup, but we're not coming up and down. Spring load is gonna be different for all of us. I'm gonna have Jess on 1 red. Some of you might be on 1 red and 2 or 3 yellows. It'll be heavier for a bicep curl. In 3, left foot forward. 2 and 1. So coming on down, most of you might keep your springs the same. I'm just dropping Jess down to 1 red. Left heel forward, right toes are still tucked behind you. Tuck your right toes. Scoot your right knee back just a little bit so you feel a nice stretch on your hip flexor. Tuck your tail down. Lift your elbows up. Make sure you're able to stabilize your shoulder blades, so shoulder blades depressed, collarbones open. Just your arms are gonna move here, you guys, but you are drilling your left heel down so that your butt feels like it's gonna fall off. Lean a little bit forward. Good, exactly. So pushing your left heel down. Squeeze your inner thighs at each other like you're scissoring them. Push into your right toes back there and tuck your tailbone down. Feel those abs burning. The challenge, the constant here, is to always be seeing if you can lift your elbows just a sliver higher. Definitely don't go higher than shoulder height, but it's a battle, right? The higher you lift your elbows, the more your core has to work, the more your shoulder blades have to work, the more your butt is gonna burn. For the challenge, 20 seconds, see if you can lift your right knee up off the carriage, just an inch, hovering it, staying low. Nice, Jessica, she just did it. Totally optional. If this is not for you and you're not getting into it, right, come back down to your knee. It's still very much a left leg exercise. Dig deep, just a few more seconds here. Maybe lifting those elbows higher, maybe lunging down a little. Oh yes. Lean a little forward, you guys, if you're not connecting those abs. In 3, we curl our arms, we hold it in 2. Curl your arms, hold it. It's just an isometric hold. Focus on closing your core. Focus on sitting lower into your left leg. Squeeze your right butt cheek back there. Relax your neck, your jaw, your shoulders away from your ears for 5. Escalator lunge. You have a spring change. In 3, 1 yellow, 2 is more support. In 2 and 1. Awesome, Jessica. Ditch your cables right there in the well. 1 yellow, 2 is more support. You're still facing the springs. Left foot on the carriage. Good. So pole can come out. You can set your pole wherever you like. I like mine on the right when I'm lunging on the left. You can also pick up your pole for a bicep curl. That's crazy. A front raise, a little harder. Shoulder press, probably the hardest. It's up to you. Bending into your left knee, coming down nice and low, pushing into your heel to rise. It feels so good. So what I want you to focus on for the next 20 seconds or so, I want you to try to get lower, right? Every time you come down, push to bring that left thigh down, push to squeeze your inner thighs, squeeze your right butt cheek, the other leg, squeeze your shoulder blades down. This is one of my favorite core exercises, believe it or not. So every time I come down, I'm focusing on trying to feel my abs working as I rise up. It makes it that much more intense. You've got 20 seconds or so. Shoulder blades down the back. I like how Jessica's looking forward at the garage door, which you can't see, rather than down at the carriage. Couple things that does. If you look down at the carriage, obviously check your knee to ankle alignment occasionally, but if you're looking down, your balance is gonna go out of whack. If you're not looking at the carriage, but you're still kind of looking down, our posture tends to fall. Our shoulders tend to roll forward, our head tends to sag. So keep your heart open, your chest lifted, your posture is up, even if you're leaning forward. Next one, start to come down to the bottom and push it. Get down nice and low. Hold it there. Breathe. Squeeze it. Feels delightful. Drop your tailbone a little bit. And again, push to bring your left thigh about parallel to the floor, real low. Now take a breath, push into your left heel, and come about halfway up. Good, just a couple more inches, about right there. Good. Drop your tailbone, gaze forward without moving the carriage. Begin to bend your knees, sink down into a split lunge. Feels like the bottom of that super lunge. And then only coming about halfway up. That's the challenge. All the way down as low as you can get. Your thighs are on fire. Hold it down on this one. Give me 1 inch up. 1 inch down. Real small movements right there at the bottom. Good breath. 1 inch up. 1 inch down. Sit really low. Hold it for a second. Now come about halfway up again, so just an inch or 2 higher. Lunge all the way down, all the way down. Back leg is straight now. Hold it out and begin to kick your left heel forward. Ooh, it burns, Jessica. Exhale, squeeze with the hamstring, pull the heel in right under the knee, stay low, oh yes, we're still low. Just kicking your left heel out, and then squeezing it right back in. Yes, 3 seconds, kick it out. Good, bend the knee, heel underneath the knee, sink a little lower, take a big old inhale, rise up, go slow. 20 seconds, I know, breaking up that lactic acid. Come right back down into your next one. We have one more for the left leg coming, and then we'll get an intermission. We'll do the oblique blocks back to back. We're coming to the back in 6 seconds. It's express lunge. Make sure you have 1 yellow. 2 yellows will be a challenge if you want it. 3, 2, 1. Good job. Hang up your pole, make your way to the back. If you have 2 yellows, make sure you get 1 unless you mean to have 2. You'll have your red cables in your hands. Your left foot will be forward on the back platform. So right toes step back, exactly. Left toes point straight ahead, your feet about hips distance. I like a little lean forward in this one. If my back is feeling sensitive or if my right hip is feeling really tight. So if that's you, if you feel anything in your lower back, lengthen your spine by leaning forward. You can see, right, if I'm in a lunge, and I'm upright, kind of looks archy in my back, but if I lean forward, it lengthens the whole thing out. Big inhales, big exhales, about 10 seconds. We'll sit into our first challenge. Activate those inner thighs again. You've got these cables here for your biceps. Try not to rely on them. They are there for assistance. See what you can do about keeping your arms straight occasionally. Next one, come down to the bottom. Sit down low into your left leg. Push heavily into your left heel. Challenge your butt and your hamstrings, you guys. Bend your left knee more. Sit low. Yes. Squeeze the core in tight. Open up your collarbones. And now as slowly as you can, begin to bend your right knee. You can use your bicep curl here. Good. Right hip a little bit forward. Beautiful adjustment. If you can get lower, try. You're not going to be here very long. If you need to use your black handles, you're going to go right ahead and use your black handles. I would much rather you use the reds on this one. Kind of keeps you honest, not bearing weight in the arms. This is 5 seconds right here. In 3, we're gonna slide that right leg back in 2, hold the right leg back, sink in a little bit lower, awesome, and then slowly start to rise up. Now, listen up for the change. Once you hit the bottom, you're gonna add in 1 carriage kick each time. So holding low, bringing that carriage kick in, sliding it all the way back out with control, and then really slow, rising up. See what you can do about straight arms. It's getting spicy now. It should be. This is your last left leg exercise. We're going for burnout at this point. 10 seconds. Good. Slow, steady. Shoulders are opening back. Rib cage is closed on your front. Next one, meet me all the way down at the bottom. Last time. You do not even have to go back to full range after this one. You'll just be rising up from the bottom. Sink in a little bit lower, lean a little forward, 1 inch down, burning into that left hamstring, left glute, 1 inch up, full stop. 1 inch down, awesome, you're right there. 1 inch up. Come 1 inch down, see if you can sink a little bit lower, as slow as you can. We rise up, 8, mermaid left side, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Shake that off. Right hip down. Left foot comes to your strap in your mermaid. So stacking up your hips. Adjust the strap if you need to. Make sure you're not sitting up on top of your right butt, like just facing straight ahead. You want to lean to the side and kind of sit on that right hip so your spine is long as you lean over. It's not, technically not a crunch. We're trying to hinge again. Inhale, bringing it down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good. Exhale, lift it up. So arms could be wherever you like on this one. Usually I like my hands in prayer. What I'm also kind of doing these days is 1 hand behind the back, 1 hand in front. Like my front hand is checking my rib cage and my back hand is checking that I'm not arching my back. Because if you tend to arch your back in lunges, you're going to tend to arch your back here. On your next one, come down halfway maybe, hold it. If this doesn't serve you, you can always just hold. We're gonna start to bring in a rotation. So holding low, try not to get lower, squeeze your shoulder blades, and just turn to the right. Squeeze that left shoulder blade in. And then really slow, turn back to your left, pause, And then again, rotate down. So holding the depth, just twisting, wringing out your waist, and then untwisting. Good, do it one more time. Rotate down, shoulder blades down the back, open it back up, sink a little lower, stay straight now, no more twist, come back to full range. This is your last 10 seconds here. We're gonna come into soul train with your left foot underneath the strap. If you had 2 yellows on your express lunge, make sure you get 1. In 3, 2, 1. Awesome. So left foot comes underneath your strap. Right toes are gonna extend out and kind of up, so challenging that right hip flexor. Bend your left knee all the way in to start, hands in prayer or fingertips behind your ears. Start by holding your legs like this, but twist your body towards your left thigh. Open up your collarbones, and then really slow start to rotate through center over to the other side as you start to switch out your legs. So when you twist to the right, your right knee is bent, your left leg is still with the carriage, but it's straight. And then again, start to twist all the way back around, making it more challenging by leaning back further. You can do that if you like. And then real slow, rolling it all the way through to the other side. You've got about 10 more seconds here. Feels so good. Neck stays long, shoulders stay depressed. Breathing is really deep. Don't forget to breathe, you guys. Next one, turn all the way to your left. Lengthen out your neck, maybe lean back. Reach your arms up over that handlebar to your left. And then now really slow, both arms go up. Both arms squeeze down. Yes, 6, 5, you grab the carriage for snake. Left foot over right, kind of like a teaser setup. In 2 and 1. Good job. So grab your carriage. Left foot is over your right foot. If you needed to do this one at the front, you totally could. As slowly as you can, bend your knees towards your right elbow. Make sure your feet are crossed. So again, left foot is over right. Booty is squeezing, inner thighs are squeezing. Remember that first bear we did? Try to squeeze your butt cheeks and your inner thighs the entire time your legs are extending. You only have about 10 more seconds like this. Engage those upper arms, soften your elbows. That looks perfect, Jessica. Super slow, super strong. Next one, everybody. Start to extend your legs out to straight. Push down into your hands. With straight legs, start to lift your hips up towards the sky. Doesn't need to go very high, but it could. Awesome lift, Jess. Slowly back down. Lifting right back up. I know you have 8 seconds here. It feels so good. 5, 4, 3. Take it out to straight legs on your next one. Hold it. Bend your knees halfway in, halfway in, halfway in. Take it 1 inch in. 1 inch out. This is 6, 5. Elbows down, knees are uncrossed. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Elbows on the carriage, knees together, side by side, hips travel forward. You're in your modified plank. Slowly as you can, begin to saw your elbows forward, keeping your shoulders depressed, and then exhale, pull back in. Lighten up those center abs again. Squeeze both of your butts evenly, even though the left leg is a little bit more tapped here. Now on your next saw, we're gonna start to bring it into inchworm. So next one, stack your shoulders over your elbows, and as you exhale, round and lift, 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 lift. Hold it, try not to touch the carriage to the platform. Slide it all the way out. Once you're all the way out in that modified plank, hinge your shoulders again. Nice and slow. Yes, good. If you want to make it more challenging, take 2 saws before you lift into that curl. Last 15 seconds here. We're going to get off the shoulders right after this. You're going to be in your mermaid on the other side. Back-to-back obliques today in 8 seconds. So your left hip will be down. Your right foot will move under the strap on the floor. Good push. Just 3, 2, 1. Awesome. So letting go of the carriage, slide your right foot underneath the strap, set your hips. Arms again wherever you like, could be in prayer, fingertips behind the ears is really hard. It's one of the more difficult things for me to watch when I'm like taking a class, is people like their hands behind their head, but their shoulders are burning out of their neck, and it's a situation. So if you put your hands behind your head, know that it is hard work. Slow as you can go, long through the low back. So even though we're working the right side waist, you're still reaching through your tailbone to lengthen out that spine. 15 seconds or so in this full range of motion. The cool thing about this exercise and pretty much every other one is you get to control your depth. If you're going really low and your hips are burning, don't go that low. Work in a range of motion where you can feel that oblique. Next one, take it about halfway down. Hold it wherever you like with your arms. I like mine in prayer. Without getting lower, first squeeze your shoulder blades and then begin to turn down to your left. Pause there briefly. Make sure you still feel your center abs. As you exhale, rotate to your right. Stop when you're straight on, just in that mermaid position. And then again, rotate it down. Keep the shoulders melting. Looks so good, Jess. Exhale, twist back to the right. One more time, just like that. Lengthen out your neck. Take it out of the jaw. Twist down, slow, slow. Good, untwist, lengthen it out, tuck your tail, relax your right thigh, come back to full range, nice and slow. About 15 seconds of this movement. We're gonna take it back into that soul train from here, and then we'll be shortly moving back into the legs. This is your last 8 seconds. So preparing for your soul train, you're gonna grab the carriage, you'll hook it up with your right foot. I didn't mention this on the other side, but it's totally valuable and valid if you need to. You could use both legs and just twist in both directions, right? 3, 2, 1. So right foot this time underneath the strap on the floor. Set it up just the same way, step by step, piece by piece. Right knee bends, left leg extends. You're trying to lift your left leg high. If that's not in the cards today, we'll get there, right? Effort. Turn your body to your right leg. Lift your chin, lengthen it back a little bit, and now really slowly, as you begin to twist through center, you're gonna switch out your legs at the same time. So there is a lot going on in here. If it's hard for you, guess what? It's difficult. It's like patting your head and rubbing your belly. Your legs are tired. Your hip flexors are starting to fire. And I'm trying to get you to isolate right around the belt buckle. Low obliques, low core, big breathing here. You only have about 8 more seconds. I know, it goes fast and difficult. Good, finish out your last one. And then on your next one, turn all the way to your right thigh. Bend that right knee in, lift your left leg higher, lean back, shoulders down, chin up. Arms reach, and then real slow. Arms go up, and then exhale, squeeze it down. 8 seconds, inhale up, exhale, squeeze it down. We have snake in 3, grab the carriage in 2, and 1. So hands or elbows on the carriage. Right foot is crossed over your left, so your toes are pointed to your left. If you need to come to the front, you totally can. Begin to bend your knees towards your left elbow. As slowly as you can, squeezing butt and inner thighs on the way out, and then real slow, kind of grinding it right back in. I would much rather you, friends, I would much rather you go to the front for this one than doing it on your knees here at the back, just so you get this length after those sitting positions. Next one, start to slide it out, take your time. Take a second before you start to lift. Squeeze into your arms a lot. Triceps wrap back. Slowly begin to pike your hips up towards the sky. Strong arms, strong arms. Slowly resist it out. And then lift. Remember, it doesn't matter how high you get. You want to feel this in your right side waist, not in your hips, definitely not in your hamstrings. Next one, slide it back out. You've got this. Bend your knees halfway in. Here we are. 1 inch in, 1 inch out. You're going to be on your knees facing to your left for kneeling inner thighs. 3, bring the carriage in. 2 and 1. So pull it all the way in. Bring your right knee onto the carriage. Bring your left knee onto the back platform. Stand up nice and tall. I'm going to tell you immediately, you're only doing this exercise right here, right now, this one time. So it is imperative that you feel it evenly through both legs. Check in. Are your knees evenly planted? Are your feet evenly engaged? When you slide out, does it feel like one side is pulling more than the other? Lift up out of your hips, out of your knees to counter that. Send your tailbone down. Lift your spine, your heart, your head up towards the sky. Dig in. Good. Next one, while we're pretty fresh, start to slide your legs out as far as you can go. And it's different for all of us. Go out as far as you can. And then from there, pull in just 1 inch. Posture through the shoulders, long in the neck, good. And then from here, 1 inch out, 1 inch in. Keep it really slow. Feel your pelvic floor lift. Imagine you're trying to hold something in. Shoulder blades down the back. Tailbone is heavy. Core is burning. Breathe. You're almost there. 10 more seconds. 1 little inch in. Do it slower. 1 little inch out. 1 little inch in. Squeeze that whole core. Next one, go 1 inch out. Hold it here. Squeeze it here energetically, intensely. Make it feel heavier than it is for 5. Just holding. We go big in 3, 2. You're back to full range. All the way in, all the way back out. Now we have a transition coming up. We're going to be making our way back to the front. We're also making our way back to the heavy. As I mentioned before, you're only doing those squats on one time. You're doing your inner thighs one time. We're coming straight into standing outer thighs. You'll be facing the same direction. This is a difficult combo. Pulling inwards with the thighs and the core, and then we're going to go to pushing outwards with the thighs, but still inward with the core. 1 red, 1, 2, or 3 yellows. Pick your poison. Remember, skater is coming next. In 4, 3, 2, 1. Adjust your spring load. So 1 red at least, 1, 2, or 3 yellows on top of it. Facing the same direction. Right foot on the platform, left foot on the carriage. Feet are inside the straps. Do me a favor and look at your feet. You do not want your toes turned outwards for this exercise. So either straight ahead or slightly inward rotated with your toes. As you begin to press out, awesome, Jessica. Jessica likes to add a hip hinge, so do I. It makes me stay connected to my core and my outer hips a little bit more. If you don't like the hip hinge, you'll probably have a smaller range of motion, and that is A-okay. Keep a softness in your knees. Keep a strong push forward into your toes so that you feel your quads lifting up. You feel your knees not taking the heat. Next one, I want you to start to push out as far as you can and hold it there. Especially if you're leaning forward, hinging forward, shift your body weight forward into your toes. You feel your hips move forward. You feel your balance change. But you also probably feel your outer thighs more than your hip points. Hold it. Now suck your core in so tight, melt your shoulders down, close the front ribs together, and push it out a little freaking wider. Hold it, feel that work coming from both legs, you guys, though. Don't favor one leg. You're only doing this on one side. This is even Steven right now. Give me 1 inch out, not in. Just keep pushing out. Each time you push out, you gotta flex your core. Push out. Yes. Awesome, Jessica. Push out. Lean the hips a little bit forward into the toes. Yes, perfect adjustment. Push out. Check your neck, you guys. Check those shoulder blades. 3, 2, with so much control. Zip your core up as you come back to full range. Bringing it in, upright your spine if you lean. Keep the tailbone dropping as you hinge up. Yes. Push it right back out. Keep going. Feels delightful, I feel like. Straight legs, right? Straight legs after the inner thighs. Now we're going to be bending those knees and holding it there. You have a couple more seconds. Full range of motion is where you're at. Your goal is to keep it out further and further, staying away from that lighter spring load, keeping those legs engaged. 8 seconds, we're gonna sit into your squat. You'll have to adjust your feet first, turning your toes slightly out in 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. So bring it in, shake it out if you need to, quickly as you can, sit into your squat. Adjust your feet. Hold it low. Got to get just as low on this side. Rock your weight back to your heels. Use your bar if you need. As slowly as you can. Begin to drive your left leg out to the left. Perfect. Keep your left thigh rotating slightly out. Perfect adjustment. You guys push so heavily down into your right heel right now. Keep that sensation. It's something I recognize in myself in every exercise, but especially skater and especially runner's lunge and even super lunge that's coming up next, or the super lunge prep we'll call it. If you keep trying actively, every half of a rep, that means when your left leg is straight, push your right heel down heavily. You go slowly, you bring your left knee in, push into your right heel heavily. How much more do you actually feel your butts working when you do that? infinitely more. You have to keep trying. It's called presence. Meet the moment, right? Meet the challenge. Next one, send your left leg out about 95% of the way. Try to drop your butt lower. So bending your knees, chest stays high, butt goes low. Left leg 1 inch in. Feel your obliques working. You got both of them warmed up now. Go 1 inch out. Good. 1 inch in, 1 inch out. One more time. 1 inch in. Push it 1 inch out. Hold it real slow. Come back to full range. Just 10 seconds. Real slow, real slow. Yes. Perfect spine, Jess. Push it all the way out. Hold it. Lift your heart up a little bit. Drop your butt lower. Push into that right heel. 1 inch down. I know. 1 inch up. Use those bars as much as you need. Keep your legs honest right now. Push into that right heel. 1 inch down. 1 inch up. Left leg is strong. Both booties are squeezing. Come 1 inch down. Hold it tight. Here we go. Back to full range. Go slow. Do your best. Dig in. Breathing. Pushing with your breath. Resisting with your breath. You're going, this is not yoga. It doesn't need to be 1 breath per movement. If you're going slow enough, there's going to be more breaths in there. Last 8 seconds. Coming down to your knees to get your springs changed maybe, and to grab your black cables. We're going to set up that super lunge prep with your right foot forward. 1 red, 1, 2, 3, 4 yellows. Really depends on your shoulders and your biceps. I'm going to have Jess on 1 red. 3, 2, 1. Good job. So bring it down, set it up. Springs might be fine where they are. Right foot forward, left toes back. Now, elbows are going to try to stay lifted. Once Jess is in it, I'm going to have her slide her right knee back just a sliver so she feels that's right hip flexor stretching. Tuck your left toes behind you. Lift your left elbow, or put your left elbows, both of your elbows, and then begin to extend your arms forward. Lean a little exactly over your thigh. You are trying to keep your elbows lifted, but the amount they are lifted depends on what you feel when you lift them. So you should feel intensity in your core. You should feel your heart rate rising. You should feel your butt squeezing. Push your right heel down so heavy that your right butt cheek feels like a boulder, like it's going to fall off. Tailbone heavy, so a lot of core here. Pull your core in tightly to the spine. Relax your jaw, your throat, your face, of course. 6 seconds, and then we'll take the option to lift that back knee up. Intensify this. We're not here very long. I'm keeping you here less than in the minimum amount of time I would normally. It's just a bit of a wake-up call before we get into the lunges. On your next one, see if you can lift your left knee up. Good, just to hover. Keep curling those arms just a few seconds like this. And then we're gonna come into that isometric hold. Push heavily into your right heel. Close your front ribs off. If you lift your back ribs away from your back hips, that's the same thing as pulling those front ribs in. Curl your arms in. Now hold it here. It's just an isometric hold, you guys. Elbows are lifting as high as they can. Your heart rate is spiking up, so panic is setting in. Open up that breath. You can breathe through this. You can totally freaking do this. Can you get lower? You have 8 more seconds. Push that right heel. Squeeze your left butt cheek. It's the other one. You have escalator in 4. Spring change. 3, 2, 1. Good job. So 1 yellow. 2 is more support if you need it. Hold maybe on your left side if you're using it. Right foot lunges, right foot steps forward. Other options with the pull, going pull less. You don't have to use the pole if you don't want to. It's a great challenge, right? Sometimes getting out of your comfort zone is what you need. Bicep curl on the down is a great option also. Shoulder press, anything above your shoulders is just gonna make it harder. So for these first few lunges, you've got some time. You're working on your range of motion. Getting into these lunges. Feel the hips have to work, feel the core have to work to A, balance, and to B, hold your pelvis and your lumbar spine still over that right leg. Coming down as low as you can. It's probable that when you come down, you're not gonna be able to get 3 inches lower than you normally do, but I'm sure, I'm like positive that you can definitely get at least 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch lower. Good. 10 seconds. pushing heavily into the right heel. Keep trying to look forward. Remember, the posture and the balance is affected by where your eyes go. Come all the way down on your next one, and we're just gonna hold it there. Sit nice and low. First thing you gotta do is set the core so you're not feeling that left hip straining. So soften your back knee a little bit if you need to. Tuck your tail a lot. Intensify those abdominals. Adjust how you hold your rib cage. Now, slowly as you can, come just halfway up. Hold it. Good. Now hold the carriage. Drop your tailbone. Begin to bend both knees. Lower yourself straight down. And then only come halfway up. Yeah. All the way down. Get as low as you can. Low, 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 low. Yes, Jess. And then halfway up. So good. 5 more seconds. All the way down, 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 down. Yes. And we hold it down. 1 inch down, 1 inch up. I know you're at your edge right now. Use every ounce of energy. You're only here 4 more seconds. 3, 2, just come halfway up. Only halfway. Lunge all the way down, all the way down. Feel that challenge on the right thigh. Hold it. Push into your right heel. Carriage kick that heel out. Front leg. Yep, totally. So it's confusing because carriage kick is different depending on the direction we're facing. Right heel kicks out. Doesn't matter how much. Your butt should feel like it's going to fall off. If it doesn't, I want you to get lower. You have 5, 4, 3, stack the heel under the knee, get all the way down, low, 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 yes, and then rise up. Last 15 seconds or so, we'll be coming up to the back from here, and then we'll be making our way down through your arms. A couple more center core exercises, but we're almost there is the point. Last 5. We're coming to the back for express lunge. 1 yellow unless you mean it. In 2 and 1. So bringing it all the way in. Adjust spring load if you need to. 2 yellows at the front is going to make 2 yellows at the back harder. Right foot to the platform. Red cables in your hands. Bending down into the right knee. Getting real low. Hips are level square. The right side, when my right leg is dominant, it's always the harder side for me. My left hip likes to turn out more, so keep it strong. It sounds funny. If you squeeze your left butt when you're lunging in your right leg, you're going to feel where your hips are in space. You want your hips to stay level as if you were doing a squat, as if you had both feet underneath your hips, but you don't. That's the fun. Engaging those inner thighs, posture up a little bit, gaze a little forward. And when I say posture up, I don't necessarily mean be upright. All I really mean when I say it is to lengthen your spine from the crown of your head to the bottom of your tailbone. 10 seconds. Good, awesome fight with the straight arms, Jessica. Always trying, you guys. Maybe every 3rd rep, you try one with straight arms and see what you can do about it. Eventually, you'll get to straight arms a lot. You don't ever hear me cue dropping the cables, though. On your next one, come all the way down, and we're just going to hold it there. So as low as you can get, sit into it, hold it. By the way, you never hear me cue dropping the cables, but that doesn't mean you can't. I just don't want to see you taking more breaks because you chose the harder version. Endurance is everything in this one. As slowly as you can, begin to bend your left knee in for the carriage kick. So notice we're facing a different direction. When your dominant leg is on the stationary thing, a carriage kick is when the back leg moves. When you're standing on the moving thing, it's when your front leg moves. I know. That's why I'm here for you. Don't worry. Next one, start to sink a little bit lower, about 6 more seconds here. Yeah, make it your best one yet. Start to send your left leg all the way back. Perfect. Sink a little lower. And then start to rise all the way up. Now remember, each time you come down to the bottom, you're going to add in that extra carriage kick. What's that going to do? It creates another isometric hold on your right leg. Your arms have to work, and your heart rate is going to rise. Makes it more cardiovascular with low impact, right? Everything's easy breezy, 0 impact literally on your joints. But that heart rate is rising up, nice and slow. You are almost there. 10 seconds. It feels so good, I feel like. Posture again, getting lower, checking that right knee, wiggle out your toes, reconnect into your heel push. All the way down on your next one, sit low. Last time, hold it here. Lean a little forward, get a little lower, 1 inch down, 1 inch up, I know. 1 inch down, you should be at your edge. If you're not, push yourself there by getting lower. 1 inch up, 1 inch down, 4 seconds. 1 inch up, sink it all the way down, low as you can get, low as you can get, and you're back to full range, lifting up for 6. 5, we come down to our knees and our hands, giant reverse wheelbarrow in 2 and 1. So transition right here, you'll bring both knees down to where your left foot was. Hands on your back platform, hips forward. We did wheelbarrow way earlier at the front of the machine. Hips come down, and then you're gonna hinge backwards at the shoulders. No challenge for me here. You're just sliding out and you're sliding in. Hips will stay low. So you'll be in a straight line from your ears to your shoulders to your hips to your knees. If you feel pressure in your back, lift your hips a little bit. If you need to modify, this just isn't working, you can always come down to your elbows. Even more modifying, you can always take it back to the front and take the variation we did earlier in class. We're already halfway there, so strong. Everybody, do me a favor real quick. Lift your head a little bit and open up your breath, right? Let the breathing start to radiate all the way to your gut. If your breathing gets choppy and you feel like you're breathing in your throat, that's where we start to panic. And actually, it's your central nervous system. Your heart rate is getting higher that way. So breathing deeply is gonna calm that nervous system down. You have 10 seconds. We're gonna hold it right here. Once again, you have the option to come to your toes. Personally, I would stay on my knees for push-ups in 3, 2, hold it in, toes if you like it, slow push-ups all the way down. Awesome. All the way back up. Go as slow as you can. How do you make going slow easier? You don't go down so low. That's it. Make it a smaller range of motion while you're building strength. I'm barely doing any push-ups right now. My shoulder is not liking it. So if you ever see me in class, I'm doing like a 1-inch push-up. I'm shaking. It's awfully difficult for me. So super slow, super strong, knowing your range of motion, make it your own right here. 8 seconds. You're gonna quickly ride to the front for a spring change. Your bars are gonna turn in for an overhand tricep pull. 3, 2, 1. Good. 3 to 4 yellows. 2 will be a little bit light. Push right on up to the back. Turn your bars in if you don't have me to do it for you. And then grab palms facing down, shoulder distance width. Set your spine, palms down. There you go. Good. And then begin to extend out, keeping your shoulders depressed as you exhale, start to pull all the way in. Now, you're never gonna go to straight arms. If you can keep your arms halfway bent the whole time, awesome sauce. It's gonna feel like fire. Remember for a second that your legs are working, that your spine is working. See how her shoulders and hips create this nice neutral spine? Most of us tend to drop our tail in this exercise, like rounding our back. You definitely don't want any part of that. You also don't wanna overarch. So think of bear right now in your spine. You look like a bear to me. Squeeze your butt cheeks, your inner thighs. Your legs should feel fairly intense as well. Hug your elbows towards each other as you bend your elbows so that your elbows are the same distance apart that your wrists are. On your next one, squeeze it all the way in as tightly as you can, and then check. Did your shoulders kind of roll forward when you squeezed to the heavier part? Maybe they didn't, but mine usually do, at least on the right side. Now, slowly as you can, I want you to go about halfway out so your shoulders are right over your elbows, and then come 1 inch in and 1 inch back out, right here. 1 inch in, 1 inch back out. Good, just 5 seconds. 1 inch in, 1 inch out. Now hold it where you are. Bring your right hand down onto the carriage, right next to your right knee. Yep, and then full range, left arm. Range of motion might change, right? Maybe you can't get all the way in and all the way out. It's super difficult. Not gonna hold you here long. This also becomes obliques again. This is anti-rotation. Your shoulders stay level. On your next one, pull it to that halfway in part, hold it, bring your right hand up, bring your left hand down, and go full range. Whatever the full range of looks like when your right arm is the only one working. A few more seconds here, I know. Big inhales, big exhales. Drop out of that left shoulder a little bit, good. Next one, here we go. Bring it about halfway in, elbow under the shoulder, left hand comes back up. Now go full range, all the way in, all the way back out. You've totally got this. We're gonna take a ride to the front. We're gonna grab our black cables. You might adjust your springs, usually 3 to 4 to 5 yellows for newspaper. 3, 2, 1, good job. So ride to the front, grab your blacks. Adjust your spring load only if you need to. I can usually do 4 yellows on this one. Some of you might even do 5 yellows. Cross your cables so you have an X. Bring your thumbs on top of the cables. Since I'm not there with you, I feel like having your thumbs on top is gonna help you isolate, or rather stabilize the wrists a little more. Elbows stay hugging into your sides, and as slowly as you can, you start to open out. The slowness is gonna tap those endurance muscles. It's gonna burn quickly for you. But the other thing that going slow does is it forces you to feel what you're actually doing, right? Don't pull out as wide as you can and let your elbows come away from your ribs. Don't pull out quickly and let your hands start to lift higher than your elbows. Stay with that form. These are small muscles, and most of us need to strengthen our rotator cuffs, our external rotators. So, and we also need to strengthen our internal rotators, but we'll talk about that later. It's a whole different stitch. Tuck your tailbone, feel your abs working intensely. On your next one, open your arms out and hold it. To hold your arms out here, feel what you have to do to your core, right? Ribs are hugging down, tailbone is reaching down, pubic bone is reaching forward. Now tiny, pull it back a little bit more and really feel that burn, but try not to let it feel it in your jaw. Try to lift your pelvic floor. And then do it one more time. Try to pull it out a little bit further. Yeah, awesome. And come back to full range now. Real slow, real strong, no problem. Feels delightful, I feel like. It's fine, right? Okay, good. Next one, open it all the way out. Last time, I know. So holding it out, try to keep the same rotation in your arms. So your hands are not gonna come more forward. Range of motion is up to you. Slowly, pulling outward, start to lift your thumbs up. It feels so good. It burns the shoulders, it burns the biceps. It's a whole situation. Going just as slow as you lower down. And then again, thumbs towards shoulders. They do not have to touch, my friends. If it were me, I barely can lift my arms an inch or two here. Keep going. Let's go for the burnout now. We're gonna uncross our cables unless you want it to be heavier. Last upper body here is going to be your sexy back. So coming back into that hinged position in 3, 2, 1. Uncrossing your cables will make it lighter. Drop your butt back, lean forward, elbows lift to your sides, and then you're gonna begin to extend your forearms back. So it's like a tricep kickback essentially. We call it sexy back because we have this constant tension on our cables. So you're working the back of the shoulders again isometrically. They're not moving. You're working your rhomboids isometrically. They're not moving. You're working your lats isometrically. They're not moving, right? Nothing is moving on your back. It's stabilizing in this exercise. Your triceps, little muscles on the back of your upper arms, are the movers here, the primary target. As you extend your arms back, go pretty straight. I like to hold, Jessica's shoulders look perfect right now, but remember when I told you in the lat tricep pull to pull all the way in and squeeze it to your heaviest point and feel what your shoulder does? For me, especially my right shoulder, make sure your shoulder blades are the same position at the bend and at the extend. Next one, extend your arms all the way back. This is where we push. So think real straight in your arms right now, and then barely a little bend, and then flex them straight. Barely a bend, flex them straight. Yes, perfect, Jessica. Fire up those abs, you guys. 10. Barely a bend, flex them straight. Barely a bend, flex them straight. You need 1 yellow. 2 is more support. High plank, facing the same direction. Hands on the 2 and 4. In 2 and 1. Woo! Good job, Jessica. So staying at the front, 1 to 2 yellows. Hands on the 2 and the 4, and then extend out to your plank. Good. So if you had your hands, like if you have 2 yellows right now and your hands are on the 5 and the 7, guess what? You just made your way back down to 1 yellow. So hands towards the front are gonna make your springs interact the way you want. Pushing into your arms. Feel how tired your arms are. Feel how tired your legs are. Good job, you. As slowly as you can. Start to pike your hips up to the sky. We've been here before, but we were facing the other way. Feels a little different to me. I feel like this variation's a wee bit easier, but maybe not at the end of class after everything else, especially after that arm block. Keep going. This is where we finish. This is the end. All the way forward into your plank each and every time. And then all the way up into your pike each and every time. Last few seconds, I know. 10, Digging in, she's making it look real easy. Heels high, hips high, strong arms, neutral spine. Take it all the way out to your plank. Turn up your grit a little bit and hold it here. Try to squeeze every muscle in your body. Your legs squeeze together, you have one leg. Your booty, your inner thighs, your quads, even your toes are strong. Zip up through those center abs, melt your shoulders. Last 6, slowest countdown ever. 5, 4, awesome. 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. Take a child's pose, spread your knees out, let your chest drop low, let your arms reach forward or back. Maybe you put your feet in the straps and do some leg circles. You'll want about 1 red and 2 yellows for that. So you go leg circles in both directions. A little frog action is always great. Maybe just a pigeon stretch or turning around to face the front. On 3 yellows, you could take a hamstring stretch as well. Good job, everybody.